I thought that it would be a smart idea try to refeed me and hydrate with 2 liters of Coca-Cola.
2 liters
2
of
liters,
Coca-Cola.
yeah.
Their voices were really far away. Their voices were extremely muffled. And I was really confused. And I kind of tried to look up. I had tunnel vision. And what I later realized is I actually almost fainted in this moment.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was almost a little embarrassed because I'm married to a dietitian and I'm making the most basic nutrition mistake. Even as professionals in this area, we still make our fair share of mistakes. Yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about mistakes. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. Today, we're gonna be doing things a little bit differently. So normally, Daniel and I on here, we share all the tips and tricks that you can use to make your jiu-jitsu, your sport activity as good as possible to optimize your performance. But today, instead of that, we're actually gonna be talking about our own mistakes because, even as professionals in this area, we still make our fair share of mistakes and we try to learn from them, and we're gonna be sharing that so maybe you can learn from that and avoid those same mistakes. Yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about mistakes.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel. I'm a nutritionist and BJJ black belt with over 50 titles.
And I'm Vanessa, and together with Daniel, we run Nutrion, where we help athletes get to their max performance. And so today for our episode around mistakes, Daniel, you mentioned it, you have over 50 titles, you have so many competitions under your belt, right? But you still make mistakes. So can you share about a nutrition mistake that you've made in the past?
Yeah, I had compete more in the blue belt, purple belt. So in this both of belt, I did a lot of mistakes in my weight cut. So, but the funny ones is when I try to lose weight, I lose something like 8 kilos to AGP in 3 weeks. It's a tough weight cut. But after the weighting, I thought that it would be a smart idea try to refeed me and hydrate with 2 liters of Coca-Cola.
2 liters
2
of
liters,
Coca-Cola.
yeah. No, because in my mind, okay, yeah, water here and carbs.
So you were trying to refuel the carbs and also rehydrate at the same time.
Yeah, and I thought this was a nice idea, but I consider the gas, so
The carbonated
the
effect of it,
yeah. I did, in fact, but after that I was completely bloated and I can't eat anything for hours. Yeah, in fact, Coca-Cola has a lot of carbs, you hydrate at the same time, but if you can't eat for a couple hours, it is a stupid idea because at this time you could eat more carbs, you can hydrate with more quantity of water, not just 2 liters,
Yeah, actually, if you want to know how to properly refuel after weight cut, we have a video both about AJP, ADCC rules, so if you have a 24-hour window for refueling, as well as 5D nutrition under IBJJF rules.
Yeah.
And I think if you watch that video, you're not going to be making that same mistake.
Yeah. What all athletes wanna after the weighting is gain the maximum of weight as possible. So we wanted to hydrate more, eat as much as possible, to stay in the next day as heavy as possible. So I didn't do it. So I ate something like 8 kilos, but in the next day I had something like, I just regained 3 or 4 kilos. Yeah.
And what would you normally be regaining?
I regain everything.
Right.
My main goal would be 7. The best thing to do is regain all of weight.
So that was a tough one. And how did the competition go after that refuel?
To be honest, not so good, because my opponent was heavier than me, stronger than me. But I think it's not just because the weight cut. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I also did many mistakes into my fight. So yeah.
Right. So you mentioned that was like when you were blue, purple belt, right? Many years ago. You've already been a black belt for what, 3-4 years already?
Yeah.
Today you're a lot more experienced, right? And you wouldn't be drinking Coca-Cola to refuel anymore.
Yeah. Indeed, when you start a new sport, you need a time to align the nutrition with the new sport, the new rules. So yeah, it's completely normal.
Yeah, and actually that's a great segue into my own mistake. So I started figure skating a year and a half ago, right? I posted on our Instagram about it. If you want to see me in a figure skating costume, you can take a look there. But yeah, I started a year and a half ago. I've been taking it very seriously. I've made my own share of nutrition mistakes in just that short period as I was learning the level. And so what was happening with me is when you start a very technical sport like jiu-jitsu, but also figure skating, at least for figure skating in the very beginning, there's so much focus on technique that it's not so physically challenging. So in the beginning, you actually don't focus that much on your nutrition. Of course, I'm trying to eat healthy, but I didn't time my carbs. I didn't pay any attention to like the higher level performance stuff just because my sport wasn't so exhausting to me. As you get better, you're doing harder and harder things and you're starting to use your body more. All of a sudden you actually need to care about your nutrition. I think we see it with our clients that come to us often, when they're at blue belt level, they're starting to feel the pressure from competition. All of a sudden they need to pay attention. So in my case, I wasn't paying enough attention. I train a lot in the morning. One day I was running really late and I just didn't have time to eat breakfast. I have low blood pressure, so my doctor actually recommended I drink coffee in the morning. This morning I actually had to skip my coffee. I was just out the door and off to training. My group training was a full hour. First, maybe half hour was actually fine. And then we started doing a fairly easy step and I was struggling so much on this easy exercise and I didn't know why. And I was struggling and all of a sudden I tripped and I fell on this really easy exercise. And if you know figure skating, you don't want to be tripping and falling on the ice. It's not a nice sensation. It's not comfortable.
No, definitely not.
So I tripped and fell on this really easy exercise. And when I fell down, immediately I thought, like, what's going on? Why is this so difficult? The other people in the group, they heard me fall. So they came closer to where I was. And they started talking to me and asking me questions. Their voices were really far away. Their voices were extremely muffled. And I was really confused. And I kind of tried to look up. I had tunnel vision. And what I later realized is I actually almost fainted in this moment. I was helped off the ice. Someone brought me a small Coca-Cola because it's a lot of sugar, right? So you get
in this case, it's
so
helpful.
you get quick sugar in your system. So I was drinking the Coca-Cola and people were still talking to me. I still could barely hear them. And after some time, I started to feel normal again. After I analyzed what was going on, I remembered that I forgot to eat breakfast. And I think that's the first time I realized, oh, now I'm a little bit better at this sport. Now I'm doing more challenging things. And they're not just technically challenging, but also physically challenging. And now I need to pay attention. And honestly, I was almost a little embarrassed because I'm married to a dietitian and I'm making the most basic nutrition mistake. I have not a single time trained in the morning without eating my breakfast first. So I definitely learned from that.
No, I know what you're talking about. This is a common mistake because when athletes make this transition to beginning to intermediates, so probably if you do something like that in your second ice skating lesson, you don't feel anything because the caloric expense is lower than your intensity right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you will progressing in the activity, the caloric spending will increase as well. Of course, sometimes if you want to do the beginners class, everything will be easier and your caloric spend will be lower than when you begin. But normal thing that happen with everyone, it will be increase the level and increase quantity of activities in the activity session.
Definitely. I mean, for example, for ice skating, right, so I think for jiu-jitsu, it's being able to do more rolls, it's being able to practice faster, more difficult things. For ice skating, it's going lower, using your knee bend more, using your muscles more because you're not kind of just trying not to fall. Nowadays, I get out of breath, I get sweaty in my ice skating sessions. That would never happen like a year ago. Like I would, I could just, if I wanted to, I didn't do this, but if I wanted to, I could just wear regular clothes and go off to work after and, I wouldn't look any different. So, that was my initial mistake, the skipping breakfast after I started getting good. And so then I started paying more attention, right? I always, since then, every single time I go ice skating in the morning, I definitely eat before. I make sure I have, my breakfast, I tend to eat oats with banana, so I have a lot of different carbs. Then I made another mistake. My level continued progressing, right? I was still eating my breakfast every morning, but what happened with me one lesson is I went in with breakfast eaten, with coffee, well hydrated, and I did my private lesson. And now, private lessons are much more intense. Like you're much more focused, you're much more repeating things, so 1 hour private lesson is a lot more difficult than a 1 hour group lesson. And I was in my private lesson and I was practicing a certain jump with my teacher. Again, it was an easy jump. It was like a warm-up jump after some other difficult exercises. And I fell. And again, I was really confused because it was not a difficult jump. It was something I would normally be able to do. You know, figure skating, you fall a lot. I've never injured myself. Thank God, knock on wood. I don't have any wood here. My teacher, she immediately asked me, you know, are you injured? And I knew I wasn't injured. Like, my pain was very manageable, but I couldn't get up. Like, I couldn't stand up. I knew I didn't have the power to stand up. I was just telling her, like, I'm not injured, but I'm bad. Like, that's all I could say. She came over to where I was, and she started talking to me. I could not hear her. I couldn't hear what she was saying, could hear some words, but I didn't have the energy to even respond to what she was saying.
Yeah.
And mind you, 10 seconds before, I was still jumping, you know? It was very, very sudden.
Yeah.
So we went off the ice again, got me a Coca-Cola, and I was so confused because I did eat my regular breakfast until I actually got home and analyzed it with you. And I don't know if you remember, but what we found out is the night before, what I had for dinner was actually a salad with, I think, some grilled salmon, which is a very healthy meal, right? Yeah. But it's low in carbs. And my level had gotten so much better, and the private lesson is so much more intense, that just the breakfast was not enough, right? Like, we learned this. We have a podcast episode about carb timing out, so I'm gonna try to link that on the screen. But I hadn't considered the dinner carbs at all because I never had to, right? Yeah. Again, my level improved, and all of a sudden what I was doing before didn't matter anymore. So I learned a very hard lesson that day. You know, private lessons are expensive, and I didn't get to complete mine, so it was an expensive lesson. But I learned that when you graduate another level, you can't just think about, oh, did I eat something before training in general? Did I eat some carbs? Now it's actually about carb timing and about really making sure that, you know, even if you eat healthy, it might just not be good enough. Yeah, that was another really, really important lesson for me to learn.
When you see everything far away, you think, oh, this is just a detail. It doesn't matter if I don't eat carbs at dinner. But you underestimate how this meal is important for activities in the morning, especially if you're not able or comfortable to eat a great quantity of food in the breakfast in the morning. So if you not feel appetite to eat huge breakfast, the dinner will be more important than usual. You know?
To me, what was really interesting about this one was I ate very healthy throughout the day. I think my macros were quite balanced, but because I was now at a higher level, carb timing became really important. This has not happened again since then, because now when I have my very intensive privates in the morning, for dinner, I'm focusing on carbs. I'm not focusing on just being healthy. I'm focusing on pasta, on pizza, on whatever I can do to make sure I don't faint, I don't fall. And to me, that's much more important than trying to get like the exact right calories or something like that. Making sure that the carbs are right so that I can perform properly, not fall, not get injured. And this is also something we see with our clients. You know, they often come to us after they just had another level breakthrough. All of a sudden, their nutrition isn't efficient, even though it's healthy.
I think it's because for Jiu-Jitsu is the same. When you begin and you are a white belt, something is hard because you are in the beginning, but the sparring is easier than the color belt. In my opinion, if you are a white belt and sparring with a blue or purple or black, this person will be, you do an easy roll with you. I don't know how it works in your gym, but usual thing that happen is go easier with the white belt. But when you got your blue belt, everything's changed because of the old blue belts, the purple belts, browns, wanna roll hard with you, and especially the white belts will roll hard with you because when you prove for a professor that
they're ready for the blue belt themselves.
For the blue belt as well. Everything changes when you get the blue belt. So and the people underestimate this process because it's just a belt and it never changed, but everything changed. The level is the new level, and the same thing for the purple, the same thing for the browns and the black.
And I think that's what we see, right? Like for our clients, most of them come to us either right after getting a new belt and suddenly they're feeling the pressure, or they've had their belt for a while but they're now starting to compete at that belt, and all of a sudden again pressure is much higher. Whatever they'd been doing before, it's just not good enough because it's much more intense on your body.
So it's probably the same thing for you in the ice skating, in the private lessons. It's more intensive, and especially because you had a tournament, everything's more intense.
And actually I think I'm getting to like the next level now where I'm doing the carb timing, right? I'm making sure to eat before my trainings and all that.
Yeah.
But I actually think I'm now unlocking that next level where I can start playing with supplements. I can start playing with some other small screws to turn.
Yeah.
For injury prevention and for all those other things. It's just so interesting to me how, you know, your body sort of demands a bigger and bigger focus on nutrition as you progress in any sport. So I was sharing a lot about my mistakes, right? And that those are quite recent. But you, besides the Coca-Cola story, have you made other nutrition mistakes that you can share today?
Yeah, I have another one, and my mind right now is in the AGP tournament as well. So after the weigh-in, I did everything right. Hydration, electrolytes, completely normal in Brazil. The guys invite you for the rodízio restaurant. In this kind of restaurant, have everything to eat, a pizza or meat or everything. It's completely normal. Many guys go there, especially if you did the hard weight cut, also in the intermediate weight cut as well. This is a huge mistake to do because when you lose a lot of weight, especially for tournaments, the weighting is the day before, your body decreases the quantity of digestive enzymes into your body. So the body needs that time to produce these enzymes again. For this reason, I also plan for our athlete that need to do the progressive refeeding and progressive hydration. So yeah, it's important to respect hydration first, and then just eat the things easier to absorb, and just then eat something heavier but without fat. So in this case,
you did the opposite of that,
I
right?
did the opposite. Yeah, I just had my water and electrolytes, and then I went to the restaurant.
Right.
And there I had pizza, meat, and everything. And this upset a lot of my stomach. I not just had a problem to regain my weight, but I have a problems in the night before the tournament, and the day of the tournament. And yeah, and this is a special one. I traveled to compete, so yeah, spent with flights and with hotel and everything to fight really, really bad in the day of the tournament. So yeah.
And how did that tournament go for you?
Yes, yeah.
Not one of your titles.
Yeah, this is a kind of mistake that I always explain for all athletes. Yeah, this is common. This is so common mistake. The guys after the weighting go to the McDonald's or this kind of restaurants, fried foods or this kind of thing. So just avoid it if you can. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a really important lesson, right? Avoiding the fat. Even after the weigh-in, I think a lot of people think, oh, now it's free for all.
Yeah.
Now I can just eat whatever I want. I just need to regain weight so I can eat whatever, any calories, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes, you can eat a lot of calories, but not calories from fat. That's gonna make you upset.
Yeah.
And that's actually not gonna...
Yeah, I like this mindset. Try to eat as clean as possible before the tournament, and after the tournament, of course, you can go to this kind of restaurant. It's a time to do it. Doesn't matter if you will upset your stomach after. So yeah, so get your medal and then go to the restaurant.
That's how you do it nowadays, right?
Yeah, always.
Awesome. So just to recap, right? I think we talked about different mistakes today. Hopefully you've never even made any of these mistakes, and now you know not to make them in the future. If you've made any of these mistakes before, hopefully now you've learned how to fix them. We definitely learned a lot, you know. We love to share what we've learned. I think I'm still gonna learn a lot on my ice skating journey. You're still learning a lot even as a black belt, helping everyone and seeing what's going on. Yeah, so if you want to learn more about maybe fight day nutrition, carb timing, do check out our other episodes. You know, we try to share a lot of valuable information to help you eat the right things and not have an upset stomach, not faint, not have any performance issues. So do check that out. And we'll see you again in the next episode.